Do you guys want to commit sex crimes?
All right.
And by that I mean mild vandalism
with your penis
and
a little bit of brimping.
Check fraud.
Oh, that
right after we have sex.
No, I don't think I will. I don't think I'd be down for that kind of crime after our sexual escapades. I'd be doing a lot of self-reflection. Even if you made me come and I got to be into Cum World or The Quiet, I think I'd still be.
I just think Leonardo DiCaprio would never got caught if he could.
Oh,
if he had sex time freezy powers.
Or sex ghosting
in Catch Me If You Can?
now.
Yeah, that's why I said caught if he could.
Well done. Well played.
I'm not always this sharp, but
Hey,
I have my moments.
It's that drink, right?
It's that post-nut clarity.
There's something about dude butt that just
Gets me focused in.
yeah, really locks my brain in.
All right. So we've done our little intro bit that we do. So now we take a sip for courage.
Oh yeah, sip for courage.
And then one more for fun.
And this drink, it's definitely a sip.
Yeah, this is like my
This is all
third.
liquor, yeah. And I might have another. We'll see.
It is surprisingly good though.
It's very smooth.
I'm always surprised by an old fashioned or like a Manhattan where it's just like all liquor, or like a martini, and you're like, there's no way that this should be good.
That's got to be a quality of liquor to some degree though, because vodka is rough every single time I drink it.
Oh my god.
Oh no, it's like I make like a Smirnoff martini, and like
Smirnoff martini and still
somehow just adding that little bit of dry vermouth and like like an olive or like a lemon peel like cuts it just the right amount.
wow.
That being said, a gin martini is way better than a
Gin's
vodka martini.
The more delicious of the two liquors. It's just dry as hell.
Yeah. But I'd much rather have a gin than a vodka any day.
I'm
Any
glad we
day of the
got
week.
that.
If you're being particularly lazy, gin and Fresca it's a game changer. It's a revelation.
Andy told me about that earlier this year. You know, when he gets into his summertime mode, he's just trying out different things, and I think that's how he discovered it then.
And
Little
Fresca's
Fresca?
technically not a soda, I guess.
No, it's like a
It's soda water
sparkling
or something.
A seltzer?
sparkling thing.
Yeah.
It's not quite a
Not, like,
seltzer.
not a hard seltzer, but just a seltzer
It's
water.
almost like a
Yeah, it's-
sparkling citrus
Yeah,
drink.
it's like the in between. It says it on the can.
Non-caffeinated.
Who has time to read when you're drinking, though? You know.
Big
Yeah,
big
I
shout
get-
out to Fresca here too. Obviously sponsored.
If we say it one more time, we get money.
Well, I got to tell Fresca thank you. So got that sponsor locked in.
Since we're already talking about the drink, I'll just tell everybody what it's called.
Shit, sorry.
Since we're already in there, I know we haven't done our intro yet, but
Let's,
I mean, let's play a little. Let's commit a little more sex
I was
crimes
gonna say
and
this
play off the
episode
rules.
we're keeping things loose,
Fast
keeping it
and
fresh.
loose.
So
Hopefully
yeah,
fast and tight, actually.
yeah.
If we're doing sex with each other.
It depends on how much sex we do and how often.
Yeah,
is it
Maybe we
tantric?
start out tight, but then we get a little loose.
Yeah, we're doing that.
Yeah.
That serious.
But it's called a Robert Rainbow. Actually, it's a Rob Roy.
But you're
But
calling
I-
it a Robert Rainbow.
Yeah, I googled Robert Rainbow cocktail thinking there's no way I'll get something.
And you didn't.
And then literally Google was like, here's a Robert Rainbow cocktail. And it
Google's
gave me
AI.
all of the ingredients. And then at the bottom, there was a Wikipedia article that said Rob Roy cocktail. And I was like, who am I to tell Google that it's wrong?
And in this case, it sounds like it was wrong, but it did give you a good drink, so
Yeah.
it all worked out. Yeah.
Didn't you get your answer from the AI tool?
Yeah,
that you
yeah,
have
the AI
here?
tool
So
with it, like, yeah.
how accurate it is.
I'm making it better just by using it.
Yeah,
so.
I guess that. Not guess.
Or technically, right now, I made it worse because I used it.
You used it and verified that its wrongness was correct.
Yeah. And you didn't use it to take someone's job, so it's fine.
That's true.
Yeah. So, but we're having a Rob Roy. So Higgins, break that
Rob
down.
Roy.
What's in there?
It's like a 2 parts Scotch whiskey. We picked Johnny Walker Red Label.
We sure did.
I had at one point I had Bullet Bourbon, and then I was like, no, that's bourbon. And then I had Maker's Mark, and I was like, that's just regular bourbon whiskey or whiskey just in general. And then I grabbed Jameson, and I was like, that's not right either. That's
And then
Irish
you put
whiskey.
Jameson back in the room.
And
So
then
we'll talk later.
But Jameson was right here, and I'm holding my hand up in the air a little bit to the up and the right people that are listening.
Yes.
And then just a little bit to the left and down where my left hand is, that's where the Johnny Walker stuff was. And it said Scotch whiskey on it. And I was like, look at that. I'm going to grab that. And then I grabbed the big bottle and I was like, I'm never going to drink all this Scotch whiskey. So I got the smaller bottle.
It may be off tangent, and I did work in a bar for such a long time. What is the difference between whiskey and bourbon?
We don't really talk about that.
We've actually talked about this before, and
we got it completely wrong.
Someone who was it that got mad at us? Not mad at us. Oh yeah, because he actually knew.
He emailed about it.
Yeah.
So I do kind of know Scotch whiskey. The only thing different about Scotch whiskey is it's made in Scotland.
Oh, he's doing it again.
That's actually the thing.
So it's not champagne. It's sparkling grape water.
Bourbon is like Kentucky.
Okay. It's a regional thing.
And then whiskey's like corn or something like that.
You're going to make Ethan mad again.
No, I just said I did vague generalizations, but Scotch whiskey made in Scotland.
Okay.
Or at least originally made in Scotland.
And if you really want to know the difference, I think we asked Ethan on that episode he did with us way back at the beginning of the year. So you could take a listen to that.
Star Wars one?
Yeah.
It's just called
Ethan
The Star Wars, I think.
It is called The Star Wars. We did an episode on
Wars.
Yeah,
right,
the very first Star Wars thing.
It's a pretty good app.
Yeah. It was a good app. Couple good dudes on that app. One good dude on this app we'll get to in a second. But as far as
I gotta finish that drink thing though. Do the 2 parts. No, it's okay. I got off on a tangent too. 2 parts. 2 parts of the Scotch whiskey. 3/4 parts of sweet vermouth. I went with a different brand than we normally go for. We normally go for the Martini de Rossi, and I got something else. I don't know what it was called.
I don't taste the difference, but I do know it tastes good. So
yeah, and then just some. It said brandy cherries, but I was like, we're already doing so much liquor anyways. I just got regular maraschinos,
which is fine. I love a maraschino.
To be hitting hard. Yeah. Also, there wasn't any brandied cherries. There was bourbon cherries, and I was like, that doesn't sound very good.
It's fine. The maraschinos are good. So, and we needed to kind of switch it up a little bit, so it is a Robert Rainbow, a drink of our own making.
Yeah.
So maybe that, I don't know. We'll count that. And you chilled those glasses, maybe?
I put them in the freezer. They unchilled very fast.
Oh yeah, no. I mean that's science, isn't it for you? But
and it's hot in here. All of this talk of sex crimes really bringing the temperature.
I'm just pulling at my collar right now.
Yeah. I have to take off this hoodie.
I might, I'm gonna say I'll shed a layer or two as we can really get into it.
I already took my hoodie off.
Well, Higgins, I mean, leave something up for the people's imagination as we
took
go.
Our shirts off one time.
That might have been the last time we talked about the book we're going to talk about today.
Ooh.
It might have been something unrelated. I don't know.
I don't listen to my own podcast that far out of date.
More of a day of kind of man. Yeah. Speaking of, we're doing a podcast. That podcast is called The Comicsology Club. Ooh. It's a podcast where I, Snoop Lynch, and my co-host, Higgins Sturm.
Hey, that's me.
That's right. And we've been getting together a new guest every month. And this month...
Sometimes 2 a month.
Sometimes 2 a month, but this time we've got 1, and that's perfectly fine with me.
Yeah.
Because that one happens to be our friend, someone we've mentioned before, Rhys Green.
Oh, hey guys, what's going on?
Oh my gosh.
What's even more fun about this episode and this book and this guest is that you guys have technically, and I'm just assuming here, probably done a sex act in the same bedroom in this house that we're recording in.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, not with each other.
Yeah, with each other. Different times. Kind of the lake house situation.
Yeah.
Where they send each other letters through time.
Yeah, I put my penis back in the mailbox. So you got to see it. That's kind of crazy.
Which one of you guys are Keanu in this situation?
I think I'm Sandra Bullock for sure.
Okay.
Oh, man. That's okay.
Yeah.
You got Sandra Bullock energy, though, so...
Yeah, I'm just saying that because I don't want to die.
That's fair, too. But we're happy to have you here doing a podcast with us. I threatened you, and by threatened, I mean, please made you promise to do this with us, and you're finally here.
Yeah,
Long time coming.
Happy to be here.
Happy to have you here.
And, sorry for the spoiler alert on the lake house.
It's fine. The people will forgive you because you're going to talk about a book today.
I mean, knowing that Keanu dies is a big old spoiler.
Oh, I didn't even hear you say that. I've watched the movie. I forgot that part, though.
Well, yeah.
He spoiled it for me on my rewatch.
He warned you, though, so
yeah.
I mean, that's on you for listening.
Yeah, now you can see it coming. You'll see their love growing and then find out, oof, you died in that car crash.
Yeah, and there's a tension building now. From the moment you start it, you're just going to be looking for that moment, like, when's he going to die? Maybe there's a few fake outs.
Probably the end.
Maybe in the middle of second act, though, you know?
Yeah.
Keeping it fresh.
I can't be 100% certain that I've actually seen all of the lake house. I just know what happens.
Yeah.
He's
like
read the
the Titanic.
Wikipedia.
I just know
Never
it's got a
seen the
magical
whole-
mailbox.
Yes.
This is the second time I've talked about Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock's The Lake House. Maybe today for
wow.
different reasons.
That is weird.
That is weird.
What's the other
It might have
one?
been, I can't really remember the context of the other conversation, but I brought it up for some reason at work.
Huh. Okay.
I was just thinking about Keanu.
He's
I
a great
honestly
man.
forgot Sandra Bullock was there even.
Everything besides Keanu just kind of drifts away
Yeah.
into the distance.
I knew it was some lady.
Yeah. Is that when did he already have his John Wick hair by that point?
It was like he was rocking like replacements and a little longer, like a nice 90s boy fringe.
Like a middle part situation?
Yeah, middle part
Okay.
People
situation.
got access to the Googles. We could just find out what he looked like at the time. Or what
No.
year it came out.
There's something about
It's like
keeping the mystery
2004, I
alive,
think.
though.
I think it's 2004.
Ooh.
2006.
Wow,
Romance
it's pretty
Fantasy.
close.
Mm.
Right before movies got bad
Bit-
for a little bit.
Bit of a lull for Keanu at that point.
Yeah,
But-
I guess it would have been Point Break hair.
Yeah.
That's pretty good hair.
I'll call
Is that
that,
what we
or
talk
Speed
about?
hair.
Ooh,
Huh?
Speed hair is some of his best hair,
Yeah.
I think, personally. I mean, not as good as his John Wick hair, but
I mean, his John Wick hair is just his long hair. You could also say this is his Matrix hair. This
Mm.
was old
he got
Keanu for a
like
moment
shorter
there.
hair in Matrix. I thought that's why I went with that.
it depends on the scene, though, you know? When he's
Yeah.
in the gross world, he's a real uggo because he's got a shaved head.
I think I've
Oh,
only
yeah, with
seen
all those
the
ports on his body.
Yeah.
I've only seen the first one all the way through.
That's okay, I think.
You've only seen the first Matrix?
Yeah, all the way through. I've seen
Dang.
at least half of the second one. Not exactly like the first half or the second half. Probably like the middle 45.
I mean, they're not as good as the first one, but the whole story.
And I've never seen
combined is
Revolutions.
fantastic.
I haven't even touched the most recent
Resurrections.
one.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I figured I probably couldn't watch it until I watched all of the first three.
I think you can watch that one without it.
I think
Yeah.
you get
just
the
need
general
To,
gist of the world already.
Yeah.
so.
you really just need to know the ending of the last, like the one before that. Then you could just jump right in because there are things that link. But people have recently kind of come back to those. Was it 2 and 3? And I
Not
watched
that
it.
bad.
They've got good things in them.
I mean, like they got all of them have cool fight scenes.
Yeah, I mean, you're watching a fighting movie. The Matrix came out in '99 though, and I remember seeing that in theaters. I was 9 years old.
Yeah. And then the two after came out in the same year. That was when we had the year of the Matrix.
Had no idea it was a trans allegory though.
They made two Matrix movies in the same year. Was it kind of like a Lord of the Rings thing where they filmed them all at the same time?
They filmed 2 and 3 at the same time and released them in the same year. So you get like the second one in early Feb or something, and then the last one came out towards the end of that year.
It's probably for the
And,
best.
and people went, maybe this is too much Matrix, but they still made a crap ton of money.
Maybe that's why they didn't like the third one so much.
Oh no!
It's like when you watch
the
the second one, which is like pretty good, and then you're like 6 months later, I get another like Matrix movie, and then it's like just isn't quite as good, but it's like, but I just watched a good Matrix movie 6 months ago.
I would argue.
I think the third's better than the second.
Okay, that's
Is
exactly
that
where I was
real?
going.
I don't know.
I think
have
the
no idea.
second one is just the first one. Like it plays the hits, but it's not as interesting because it's just
gotcha.
bigger and better to be bigger and better.
There's more violence, there's more fights, and there's those two Medusa-headed fuckers who can like
Who are
phase through
ghosts?
things.
Yeah, that's.
And I don't feel like that gets brought up ever again.
It doesn't. There's a kind of an offhand remark of, you know, because there's like previous versions of the Matrix that they reboot every so often, and
Yeah.
apparently one of them was just this Transylvania nightmare of werewolves and ghosts, and they're a holdover from that, which is why they can do that. Why they have dreadlocks, I think it's just because it was the
dreadlocks are
the
cool.
early 2000s.
Dreadlocks are cool.
A big leather trench coat has never actually been cool. You look like a predator, but my God,
It
are
looks
they
really cool in a movie.
Yeah.
When it's moving in slow mo and Keanu Reeves is wearing it, yeah. But enough about the Matrix for
Yeah,
now.
we're here to talk about a different thing. Sorry, we got on tangent again.
I mean, it's never a bad time to talk about the Matrix.
It's not
But,
completely
what-
far away, too. Some sex crimes happened in that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
sex crimes happen in the Matrix.
Oh, yeah. 1000%.
Just
that,
watch-
that bald fucker.
Yeah.
He was like all
Lawrence
touchy
Fishburne?
on Trinity or whatever when she was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm remembering correctly. I could be lying. Maybe sex crimes didn't occur, but I'm pretty sure they did.
And that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
I trust you.
What I'd like to talk about for just a second is
That being said, we're reading the book Sex Criminals by...
what I'd like
Matt
to talk
Fraction.
about before that,
Oh, yeah?
just real quick, is I'd like to tell Rhys about something, and that's who sponsors this podcast.
Oh,
that
yeah,
do.
we can talk about him, I guess.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
her. I mean...
Let's talk about both of them. So, Rhys, in case you didn't know, but you probably do because we've recorded this podcast here countless times when you lived here.
Yes.
So you probably heard
And you've recently
in and out.
listened to 1 or 2 episodes.
Yes, I have.
Oh, that's true. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
But we are sponsored by a company called 008 Studios.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So what that studio does, by the way, it's our friend Michael, and more importantly, his wife, Erin Lopez.
Who's the real boss?
She's the real boss behind the scenes. Don't tell him that though. He doesn't need to know. But they make things. So they've made books. Books is kind of their main thing. He's working on video game stuff right now. But basically, small time guy or small time business. But the important part of that is, you know how like you can go to an Amazon and make a book, right? But maybe Amazon's getting the bigger cut.
Yeah.
You don't want that.
No, you'd like to get a fairer cut for yourself.
Yeah, like you're doing the work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Michael's kind of the guy that you could go to for that, to go down that route. So fair guy, fair price, all that. He knows details, I don't. But I'm going to leave a link to his business where you can message him, because I know you're writing that book about all the sex crimes that you've done, Rhys.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. And again,
And that one time that he met
Donald Glover.
Josh Groban.
Oh, yeah.
We won't tell that story on the podcast.
No, save it for the book when,
Yeah.
when you work
Okay.
with Michael.
Yeah, sure.
Um,
I mean, I'd absolutely tell it on the podcast. It's a very funny story.
It is a very funny story.
Yeah, so Michael, his business, 008 Studios, they sponsor his podcast. We love it. We love that they do that for us. They keep the lights on in the studio, here in the studio. But yeah, you can go there. You can buy the books he's done. He's done a book of his own. It's called Higgins Help Me Out. It's called I Can Do This If You Can't.
Eternal Crown.
Dawning of the Red Sun. Thank you.
See, you got that part, and I got the first part.
I'm great
it's
at
the
subtitles.
exact amount that we normally do.
It's a perfect combination,
And
like
he's got
a chocolate and peanut butter.
The second one coming out in the nearish future.
He's working on it. It's called Trials of the
Trials
Clergy.
of the Clergy.
Yeah.
I'm
Again.
pumped about it.
Yeah. So the first book was really good. We talked about it in an episode. We did that. Words are hard right now. This drink is so good. Maybe that's why. I don't know. But he's done other collaborations with people. Holly Bargo wrote a book called The Bounty. Higgins read that. He
I
liked
read that.
it.
It was really good.
Yeah. And a friend of yours, ZB Steele, who will be on an episode later in the year.
Oh, yeah.
He did a book. What's that called? For a
For
few
a
days
few
more.
days more.
There
I
it
was
is.
a beta reader on it, so I've read that too. Not in its finished quality, but for the most part, the same book.
Oh, okay. Good.
And
You're gonna read it?
I'm reading another one of his at the moment. I won't say anything about it, but I'm
No spoilers.
10 chapters into like I guess they call them like arcs or advanced reader copies.
Oh.
He sent it to a few people, so you can like mass edit, editor, mass proofread kind of deal.
That's what you're doing.
That's what I'm doing. I'm one of the proofreaders.
You got stuff going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Are
I'm
you
reading
good at
that.
spelling?
I won't even tell you the title. He's got like three. He's got that one, and he's got the second For a Few Days More done, and then a novella too. So dude's been cooking, and he
nice.
works with Michael for all of them. So
Oh, excellent. I didn't know
you
that he
could
was
be
doing
ZB Steele.
that. You could.
ZB Steele is actually a really cool name.
That's a badass name.
Yeah, for an author, right?
Yeah.
That's not his real name, but it's his author name.
That's
It would
good
also
enough
be
for
a
me.
cool porn name,
Yeah.
which ties back into the sex criminals.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. Let's actually. I don't have anything else to add about Michael and Aaron's business. Or, I'm sorry, Aaron and Michael's business. Do you?
All I know is that they don't do music.
Oh, they don't do music. No. So, Reese, I
Because
also know
Michael
that
has
you're
bad
working on that
taste.
EP, but you might have to go somewhere else for that.
Yeah.
And that's
yeah.
perfectly fine.
It's a
It's
series
okay.
of country songs.
Most
Again,
times
about my sex crimes.
The best music I've ever gotten are the mixtapes I buy on the street.
That's where you're selling them.
I personally hate getting a mixtape.
No, I
from the
do
street.
too. I was making a joke.
What if I handed it to you in like a fun themed USB?
So the issue with getting handed music on the street is never that you're giving me music. I'm fine. I will listen to your music. I don't want to give you any money for something you just.
Oh yeah, I did get a
pushed
free
in my
one
face.
time, and I felt good about that.
Yeah, I'll take your music and I'll listen to it. You guys probably don't know who Robbie Williams is, but when I was in the 6th or 7th grade, there was this thing going on in the park, and Robbie Williams was already a big time artist. in Australia and the UK. And I got a free CD. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, I'll totally go listen to whoever this guy is. And I'll take it. But when you're walking through the streets and somebody's like, hey, man, do you want this disc? And you're like, yeah. And it always tends to be whatever girl I'm with at the time. Who they're like, you, take that CD, take this CD. And they will, because, not trying to be confrontational. It's like, that'll just be like $5-10. You got $20. All I've got is a 50. That's cool. Do you have any change?
I bet that is cool.
Like, no, I'm not giving you any money for this.
I am of the expectation that, like, if you're out there just handing out free CDs or USBs, whatever you're doing of your art, you do that with the expectation that no one will pay you, and that's okay, because you're just getting the word out.
Yeah, you want to get a little bit of hype going, some buzz.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
now if you're up front and you're on the street going like, hey, $5-10, whatever, like you're shouting it as people walk by,
that would change something.
it changes, because again, that sets the expectation properly. But yeah, I don't like it when someone hands you the thing and they're like, hey, you got any money? It's like, well, no.
I was getting something for nothing.
Yeah. But I hope Robbie Williams is doing okay.
I think he is. Apparently people think he's hot. I don't really remember what he looks like. The thing that sticks the most for me was there was a music video, again, years ago now, where he's getting naked as he's dancing on this stage thing, and so he strips off, I think, the suit he's wearing. He's down to just his budgie smugglers, or tidy whities, but I think they're silver or something like that. And then he takes his skin off, and he's just like this flesh creature dancing on a stage.
That's a good video.
I don't remember what the song is called.
Wow.
It might
get there.
it might be
We'll
something
find
to
it.
do with like, I don't want to stop DJ, I think is part of the lyrics to
I'll
this
look
song.
up Robbie Williams. Naked muscle dude.
You'll probably see his
dude?
penis, because he strikes me as a gentleman who's got nudes out there on the internet.
If you don't mind me saying so, it sounds like he's a guy who might do a sex crime or two of his own.
I guess we can get back to the book
that
that
could be
we've gotten back to
slanderous,
3
but I
times
don't know.
this episode.
It's only slanderous if he listens to this, and I don't think he will. So, but more importantly, that was if I don't mind saying myself, a great segue into the book that we're going to talk about.
Just called Sex Criminals.
It is a book
Volume
we're
2.
returning to. Yes. So,
by Matt Fraction.
Matt Fraction writes,
And
and
Chip
Chip Zdarsky
Zdarsky
does the art, I believe, right? Does that
Yeah, they
sound right?
probably both write a little bit, I think.
See, yeah. Well, Chip Zdarsky, I know, writes now, if anything. Like, he recently did a run on Batman. Oh,
Well,
thank
he did
you.
the Spider-Mans that we read, right?
Yeah, he did
Spider-Man:
Spider-Man
A
Life
Life
Story.
Story.
That's right. Yeah, great book, great story. So yes, they are no strangers to. Because I think Matt Fraction might also do colors. Or point is, they've been in the industry a long time, and this
They're
is a
just good
project that
dudes.
they were just let's do a weird thing about people who have sex and time stops, and then they're like, hey, what if we also did crimes while that happened? We
Yeah.
talked about the first volume, Just Us. Coming back to do the second volume, The Year of the Guest. It's harder to do sex crimes as we get older, so we figured we'd bring a third person in, have a threesome of our own. Rhys was happy to join. So, Rhys, you did the required reading and just caught up on. This is the first, this is the first 10 issues that you had to read.
Yes.
So, and you don't read comics, I don't
I
think.
don't normally read comics, no. I've enjoyed some comics over the years. I think whenever, it might have been New 52 or whatever, when they were doing like the Superboy
The DC thing, yeah.
I was kind of into that for
Okay.
a chunk of time, and then I left California and came to Georgia, and that was...
Comics are for nerds here, so you said no, not for me. No,
I don't
thank
know
you.
if I'd say they were for nerds. Just I was like, buying books or buying comics. It's easier to read manga for free online, and that's what I'll read.
I feel that. I've
But
done
this,
that.
This sex crime stuff, or the sex criminals, it's much easier to say sex crimes than it is to say sex criminals.
Yeah.
Fantastic story. Enjoyed the hell out of it.
I was
So far.
I was gonna ask because like we've had a lot of people on this year, and kind of a common theme is they don't typically read comics, and we got you to read probably one of the weirdest comics we could have.
Oh, it's
So,
fantastic.
good.
I'll probably finish this whole series.
Luckily, it's only 31 issues.
So even easier to
So like
keep my word.
it's a manageable fine. Plus 5 issues in a volume. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
a little less reading.
Just about
Even though
20
they are,
pages
like-
less, but
It's probably honestly more reading than we normally do.
there's a lot of dialogue in this compared to some
Yeah.
of the other stuff we've read.
All
And
that
They
fourth wall
turned the
breaking.
dialogue up in the
second volume,
too.
yes. You and I met yesterday. We do our weekly pickleballing,
Absolutely.
and we kind of talked a little after. And I think we both kind of were like, yeah, this second volume is taking me a lot longer to get through than the first one did.
Yes, and not because it wasn't nearly as interesting. I don't think it started as interesting as the first one
That's
did.
fair, yeah.
But no, they just have so much more that they're trying to say. It seems like in this one, where in the first one you're just kind of catching on to the fact that Come World and the Quiet exist, and this one is like, oh hey, those sex police. Here's all your background for why the world is going the way it's going.
Yeah, and how much bigger it is than what we thought in those first 5 issues. Yeah, this one's definitely more lore heavy than the first 5 issues, and I think that was probably a good move to get the hook in the first volume. You know, just like have the premise. It's a very simple premise. Again, people find out when they orgasm, they stop time. They thought it was just them, then they find each other. It's kind of a weird love story in the first volume that turns into a bank heist sort of situation.
Absolutely.
This one, after things went awry and they got away just barely, they're like, let's chill out, and also let's maybe focus on our own personal traumas, which overall I like.
Our main character, John, you kind of see by the end of the first volume, he's not exactly the most mentally
He's got
adept,
some stuff.
adept guy. He's got a lot of stuff going on in his brain hole.
He's graying without
He's
a
got to
penis.
figure that out.
Yeah, you look like a Ken doll.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's
his penis fell
particularly
off.
upsetting.
I think that was his fourth wall character, but
Yeah,
For sure, but like not having a wiener after you're such
Yeah.
a sex fiend is
it's got to be rough.
that's a big time change.
One he did not adjust well to. No.
Yeah.
It was because who's the main female?
Susie?
Susie. Yeah, she's in the first volume. She's our kind of point of view character mainly, and she's the one who talks to because in all of this constantly it's just
Constant
talking
fourth
to
wall
us.
stuff,
Yes.
yeah.
And Matt Fraction and Chip Zdarsky, I think, really have a great handle on that. Like a lot of times, because characters we're all familiar with, like a Deadpool.
Yeah.
Or even a She-Hulk, if you've read any of that, or just watched the show even. There's a lot of fourth wall breaking, and it can get annoying or just kind of played out. I don't know if it's just because this is such a unique idea and such unique characters, but I love just the way that they play with that. The first volume, because I reread it, and so did Higgins, to kind of just catch us up because it's been so long. They have that really great bit about how they can't use the lyrics to Fat Bottom Girls.
Oh yeah, I was gonna try to mention that too, because that was, I remember us talking about that in our first episode about that, and we were like, that was probably the best part of the whole book.
And they
think-
obviously
yeah.
didn't get the rights anytime.
Yeah.
after the fact.
No, yeah.
Since I got a digital copy very recently.
Oh, and I got
Nothing's
the
changed.
big boy thing too.
Yeah, the full collection. Yeah, and so they show us they have a great handle on that, and then they kind of expand on it a little bit and give John a moment in the very beginning of this volume where he kind of gives the rundown of what happened after they get away from the sex police, and also how he needed to go back on his meds because he was just getting a little unhinged with the stress of knowing that because they find in this volume they find a device that shows this is how the sex police tracked us. Basically, whenever any of these people who stop time or have weird powers orgasm, it goes off, and so they're like, they're watching me.
It's like a sex time cop iPhone,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, an O phone.
And I like that that's a good little gag they got going through the entire thing, because they're holding on to the phone. Anytime anyone around them orgasms, they just get a little bloop, a little pink bubble pops up and it goes bloop,
Yeah,
and you're like, that's good. Every time any character that they're even kind of around, they're like, oh, bloop.
yeah. At one point, he says like, "Oh, good for you," like talking to whoever that was, because they're not having sex at this point, and I like that element too. Of this is such a weird story, but one thing they do really well is they go through kind of the mundane, everyday life and couple stuff that you would relate to. Like,
Yeah.
when we first see these characters and they meet, they already hit it off. Like, just their personalities mesh really well. And then they find the connection of, oh, we both do the orgasm time stop thing. And that thrusts them in through the whole first story. Now, they've been together for a little bit when we get to volume 2. And just like any relationship, you're out of the honeymoon phase, is
they
how
kind
he
of break
phrases
up
it.
for a little bit so
Push
he can
back on
focus
that.
on himself.
My relationship's still in the honeymoon phase. It's been many years. Olivia's fantastic.
Yeah,
She
mine
is
too.
fantastic.
Just put that one out there. But also, to your point of fourth wall breaking, I think because they seem more realistic in their relationship and whatnot, that fourth wall breaking just kind of feels like you're there discussing it with them more so than like you're making some quips to me, the audience, who were not actually interacting.
Yeah, we're the friend at coffee talking about their relationship.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, and I think that is part of the reason it feels so fresh, even though it's a trope that we're all so familiar with in various forms of media. Like Higgins said, they break up in this volume, they get back together, they're kind of still having problems, but there's clearly, even if, because part of John's problem is he can't express his feelings properly, but there's a love forming there. There's a good connection with these two that you kind of get to see the ups and downs of as they go. And also, it's just adding in the weirdness of these sex police are after them and kind of fucking with them. That's a lot of this volume as well. And
oh, absolutely,
it is fucked, like some of the stuff they do.
I hope there's a love forming. I mean, in the issues that we read, there's just the I like it when you hold my balls when we have sex.
Well, because love comes in many forms, if you think about it.
He almost said it, but then he was like, I like it when you touch my balls.
Yeah.
Or hold my balls.
That's just being
Cut my
open with
ball.
your partner,
Yeah, open with your
open
partner.
and communicative during sex. That's obviously the best way to have sex with somebody.
And then on top of that, we talked about like their origin stories in the beginning, and we got to meet so many fun characters this time. We got 2 more fresh like origin stories, I guess.
Oh yeah.
We got Robert Rainbow a little bit. We didn't get
your
his
favorite
like
OBGYN.
we did get his whole thing because we find out that he was like their friend that didn't show up that one time. And I remember in the first, because I reread it, I remember that they talked about the Catman that wasn't there, and then it turns out that Susie's
gyno.
well, her like substitute gyno happened to be John's friend back in the day.
Yeah, so what you're referring to, just to catch people up, if they don't remember, is John tells a story of the first time he like
Found porn?
had his sexual awakening, and he's mentioned a character that we'll get into as well. But basically, they went on Halloween night. They were going to dress up as Kiss, and the guy who was supposed to be Catman just didn't show. And then they end up getting beat up by some bullies. Well, it turns out, like you said,
He found the picture of what's her name?
Jasmine Saint
Jasmine
Cocaine.
Saint Cocaine. I couldn't remember her first name.
Yeah.
Saint Cocaine is very easy to remember. Whatever the first name is not as easy to
Jasmine with
remember.
2 Z's.
Yeah.
Which that is such a realistic story. As a young man, finding some porn hidden in the woods or something, or just in a
found
bush.
porn in the
You've
woods.
never found porn in the woods?
I found magazines.
We talked about that like a couple weeks ago, actually.
Yeah, before Sex Criminals was even brought up. Yeah.
Before we were doing any sex crimes, yeah.
We were just sex criminal fledglings.
No, see, Rhys, you're like 2 years older than us.
Okay.
2 to 3. So like we're like on the cusp of like the internet and stuff. So like I just found my porn on the internet.
I had the internet.
Yeah, but like you also had porn on the internet, but you also had to find it in the woods before
I
the
didn't
internet.
have to find it in
No,
the
you
woods.
just do.
Yeah,
You
just
haven't
did.
found you haven't found porn in the woods before?
I haven't been walking in the right woods, I guess.
I was walking home from school, so it wasn't even like I was doing something weird or fucking around with my friends or anything. I literally just walking home, and this one section didn't have as much bush on it anymore, and it looked like it had a couple of trees that had been knocked down that had kind of been angled like a bench. And I was like, oh, let's look at this area. And literally behind the second stump, just a porno mag.
It's just a wild place to keep it.
I don't
No, I
think
didn't
somebody
find-
kept it there on purpose. I probably stole it from another child, if we're
Yeah.
being super honest. Because
That's
why
what
would you
I'm
leave
saying.
your
Like
porno
you
out in the
hide
wild?
you hide your porn in the woods when
And
you're a
who's
kid.
jacking it in the woods?
Yeah, no, you leave it there and grab it when you need it.
I would argue you just do it there. It's like a public library.
I didn't
I brought
find,
it back to my house and I hid it in the stuffed toy box.
Yeah, I didn't find porn until college.
Dang.
And we didn't even really need it at that point. We stole it out of a fraternity's house that we were like going to a party for in freshman year. And there was just a Playboy on the toilet, and we were like, "Well, we'll take this." And I think I read every article in that Playboy.
Oh, as you do. I read everything in that porno mag.
At the end of the day, I know it's a cliche thing to say, but I was in it for the articles by the end of it.
Well, you didn't go out and buy the porno mag?
And also, at the end of the day, like when I'm sitting on the toilet taking a shit, I'm not trying to be horny either.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out the top 5 ways to sparkle your water or something like that. I don't know.
You also have a subscription to Cosmo. I see you.
I couldn't think of anything like remotely good article wise, so I guess I wouldn't be their guy to
Well,
to
that
write
feels
stuff,
like the
but
weird thing about porno mags and articles is like,
it can't just be all pictures.
well, what great story, what journalistic integrity is coming to the porno mag? Because you've got to assume most of your clientele is there to look at boobies.
And then at the end of the day, like we're saying, there was some good things to read every now and again.
Yeah, obviously, I enjoyed the hell out of it.
It's
But
better than a People magazine.
I brought it to a sleepover.
It's more educational than sex ed in America.
Ooh. See, I think that might be the difference here.
I don't even specifically remember sex ed.
Because we
In
had
our
sex
high
ed
school.
in 6th grade.
We had sex
All the
ed in
way
like 9th.
You had sex ed in
No, we
sixth
had
grade.
it in
Sixth
7th.
grade.
We had 7th or 8th.
But wait, hold on. You said you had it throughout the rest of like
Yeah,
grade
so
school?
From 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There was sex education that you could,
Really?
get in on.
Man, that sounds important in the way that
Probably a little.
yeah, like because we just had it in like we had it as a tacked on class in 6th grade. Like you could definitely tell that the teacher that was teaching it was forced to teach it.
I feel like the lady who came and taught us in 6th grade was like, I don't know if you guys had this in America, but where like an ex-druggie or something comes and tells you about the effects of like what life is like for us, and we went down the wrong path and now here we are. That is 100% what the woman who was telling us about sex seemed like in 6th grade. That it's like, oh, you just like life was rough for you, so now you just know a lot of sex stuff. Cause,
yeah, we had those guys, and they normally just like had a lot of muscles and tore phone books in half.
I was just thinking about the phone book thing. Yeah, it's like don't
Nobody
do drugs.
tore a
Don't
phone
do drugs.
book in
Look what
front of
I can do.
Yeah, because I don't do drugs. Look at this phone book I can rip in half.
I think he ripped an apple in half too.
We were worried about needles when I was a child because there was a lot of people doing the heroines.
We didn't have heroin in Pike County.
We had it in Brisbane.
They grow it there.
I honestly, up until I think I was like 22 before I even found out that shit came from a flower. It was like heroin, that's just something that people find and they make it and then you do it and your life's fucked.
Yeah, and some people eat muffins with it on there.
Yeah, exactly. A poppy seed bagel is my go-to bagel.
Oh, I don't know if I've ever had a poppy seed bagel.
Oh, man.
It's technically heroin.
Massive segue, but I was a bedwetter for a long, long time. And I had to go to the Blue Nurses. And my mother would take me, and as like a special treat for going to this doctor that was mostly for old people with bladder issues and the occasional child, I'd get to have bagels. One bagel, and I would always choose a poppy seed bagel. And then I think that bagel place went out of business.
Sad.
Dang.
Yeah,
Good
but
bagel though?
Yeah, it was. And I stopped peeing the bed, so maybe those two things went together.
There's a correlation
Yeah.
there. They're like, well,
Too much of a good thing.
we lost our steady customer and we got to close up shop. I hope it was worth it not to wet the bed anymore.
It might have been. That might have been the secret too, 15, 20 bagels, and then you'll stop pissing the bed.
There's something in that, something worth researching. And there's a lot of research in this book. We learned a lot about a lot more about how the quiet/cum world kind of works and the people who can enter it and how they enter it. We talked a little bit about Robert Rainbow and his connection to John. He was the cat man who was supposed to show up and he didn't. I really enjoy just kind of these moments because this is a funny book. Like it's just at its core, it's just there to make you laugh. But man, when some of these moments hit, like the more emotional kind of character moments, they just hit really well for me. Like even just that story of why Robert Rainbow became a gynecologist.
I was tired of people dying, and he was like, I just want to bring people into the world, not take them out of it.
Yeah. Well, he mentioned specifically kids because,
Yeah.
and I'll be honest, I didn't know what he meant. It's just a line basically of just like, because Susie has a roommate slash best friend. It's the friend that taught her all
Rachel.
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 An
Raquel?
R-worded woman, and she is.
It's Rachel with an L-E at the end of it.
Yeah. But she's hitting it off with Robert Rainbow, and she's like, why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you looking at all these lady parts? You a freak? And he just has a line of basically like, when I was in med school, I drew the raffle for
Pediatric oncology.
Yes, and I didn't know what that meant. Just full transparency.
Kid cancer.
Kid cancer, yeah. So, and that was when he decided, he's like you said, he's like, I'd rather be on the other end of it, and just he's down there just to make sure everything's okay. Which also leads into a funny moment, like a funny meet cute between Susie and
I know she has she has the perfect cervix.
She has the perfect cervix.
I literally okay. Side note again. Sorry guys, but when I was searching for a drink, I typed in perfect circle cocktail.
Yeah,
and there was a perfect circle cocktail, but it had just the longest list of alcohol that I knew would never be in a liquor store near us.
Fancy
Otherwise,
stuff. Yeah.
it was like Campari and all sorts of random stuff like that. And I was like, God, that would have been perfect. And I would have brought it up right when we talked about this. And I did now, but we're not drinking it. But it looked good.
And in a way, that moment brought us full circle.
Yeah. It's like a circle.
And
Sorry.
reminds us of
I now
why he
pronounce you
didn't
Trek and Larry.
come on the trick-or-treating was because he'd just seen his dad getting railed out by his mother with that ball gag in his mouth.
Nipple clamps and all.
Oh, yeah, I forgot
and he
about
had gone
that.
looking for the leather stuff to wear something cool for Halloween and then got scarred instead, but took it really well.
He did take it very well, and I also like in that moment that the final kind of nail in the coffin was he had a massive crush on his older brother's girlfriend who walked by right when he was putting the Catman makeup on, which is like, that's lame as fuck. And so, at classic kid fashion, he's
like, you're right, that is lame. That is lame.
He repeats verbatim what she said to him to John and the other two, and that I thought that was, I will say, I thought that was going to be more of an issue than it was when they meet up later, because not only does John have that trauma of his friend bailing on him and also not being there to get the shit beat out of him too. When they meet again, it's like, you're on a date with my girl. I mean, we're not together right now, but you're on a date with my girl. And
she was like, it's just coffee.
And it was just coffee. Because then he ends up hooking up with Rochelle / Rachel.
Does he?
Yeah.
They bang in the car.
You see the little.
Sorry, they make love in the car.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sorry.
No, we can be vulgar.
They be banging.
This is sex criminals.
Yeah.
They do kind of bang in the car.
They do some banging in the car.
They bump Uggs. They make the beast with two backs.
Yeah. They slap the priest.
They have sex.
I guess she slapped the priest. That's what that's called. That's a hand job, right?
Oh, yeah. I would have said like spanking the dolphin for a hand job.
Popping the weasel.
Yeah. Choking the snake.
Yeah. We got it. We could be the guys that do fourth wall breaking in this book.
They might do a little better than we would, though, honestly.
Well, I mean, they wrote it out. We're coming up with it on the fly.
Yeah. I mean, they did have that incredible spread in the first volume of just a bunch of sex positions. I felt like I got schooled.
Yeah. That was the other best part of the first book.
Yeah.
And for those people that didn't know, I have had sex. So, wow. Yeah. It's crazy.
How much? You guys will have to tell me more about that. I'm curious.
It's a fun experience. Everyone should do it at least once in their life.
Good. Speaking of best moments, we talked about a lot of the first volume, but do you have any best moments in this volume, the second one?
Man,
I know it's a little harder because there's more like talky stuff.
I love him having that leaving his therapist where he's pissed because his therapist is just drawing like dicks and scribbling shit.
Oh, that is pretty good.
To then finding that one therapist who's just
eating chicken in the mall.
Yeah, and he's just on it with him. It's like, nah, dude, I'm not gonna help you. If you want to actually have help, you're gonna have to come and pay me to do this job. But like, start this way, and I want you to do these things. It seemed very real and raw for his character to be like, I actually wanted to improve and fix something about myself, and the person I went to help me fix it was like, nah, I don't fucking care. To then immediately find somebody else who's like, yeah.
That's pretty good. He found his Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah. And found him in a food court eating
I might
some
not trust
bomb-ass
his
chicken.
new therapist then.
You might not trust him?
I might not, because I mean, I don't know what happens after the second volume, obviously, but the way that Kegelface shows up, speaking to him in that same food court,
I almost think she's just being an asshole.
I mean, she's a stone cold bitch.
We find out so much more about how shitty they are in the first place.
Yeah, they're willing to go to lengths that
to
are
buy
honestly
a building and destroy it.
Yeah, because you get a sense in the first volume and kind of the beginning of this volume that they've got this weird kind of Illuminati organization where they don't want something bigger than them to know people can do, like time stop and just all the different things. And so they want to keep that secret, and people like John and Susie, who are just using it for their own gain, it makes sense. It's like, oh, you kind of want to shut this down because you don't want something to come in and just ruin it for everyone. But they go way past that in this, to the point where they are just clearly fucking with these people who are just trying to, like,
save a library.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To the point where they tear down the library.
Kind of a noble means to do your crime. To be like, I was trying to fix a public good.
Yes, yeah.
And then you guys were like, big ups to both of you. We're going to
destroy
that
like, you can't save this library. How are we going to stop sex?
We're going to demolish
stop time while we have
the
sex
books
if you guys make people know we exist.
Yeah. And it gets even creepier when you realize just how they have tabs on everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And that's like, well, why and what for? Like, why do you need this information about these people who probably for the most part just happen to have this power and don't do anything with it outside of just when they have sex time stops or something else? Yeah, just real creepy, and it's the most disturbing part of the story. It's also very funny just because, like, they give her the name Kegelface, and it's 100% on. And the bus driver, who gets his ass beat constantly by John, because he shows up at one point again.
Oh yeah, he
beats him with that dildo
stuffs him with a ball gag.
Yeah, it's an interesting to have a book that is mostly comedy. I feel like they do a really great job of balancing the stakes of the bigger picture that we're getting pieces of as we go. Like, I think it's part of the reason you keep reading is while it continues to be fresh and funny, I don't feel like that alone would be enough to keep me wanting to read. But then I
can see that.
Yeah, by having the plot being what it is and having these antagonists, it isn't that extra bit where it's like, no, I want to see what's going on here.
It does play with your own morality of like, are these sex police actually the good guys? Because technically they were stopping John and Susie from doing a crime, but then like now you've destroyed a building and you are really peering into people's personal lives in a way that's just fucked.
It's weird and it's petty. Yeah.
So maybe they're really the sex criminals?
Wow.
Yeah.
I really can't wait to read the next 20 issues, because like we said, these first 10 are a lot of intros to like people that are going to be big characters, I feel like, in our story. And I feel like then as it goes on, we're going to get less and less of the origin stories and more of just like the plot as it thickens.
By the end of the 10th issue, it definitely felt like, okay, we've gotten you caught up on kind of how this world is working and functioning and what's going on around it. Now we're just going full into the shady shit, and like just they're going to do more now that we've built a lot on this. New Cat's at the door. Classic New Cat.
Just looking straight through the window.
Excuse me. I think my favorite part of this because one thing they also do really well, and we spoke into it a little bit with bringing back Catman / Robert Rainbow, but just giving you these little, what seems to be kind of jokes or just moments of our main character's past and bringing that into the modern plot. I did not expect to see Jasmine St. Cocaine show up, and I also didn't expect to just be so interested in that character.
Yeah, I didn't expect to give a shit about her.
Yeah.
For like the half of a second when it started, I was like, are we getting Kegelface's intro?
Backstory, yeah.
And then I was like, oh no, we figured it out.
Yeah, when she was saying that like her something about her genitals was a little fucked up.
Weird. I was like, oh, is that her? Is that why she's an asshole?
Yeah.
And then you're like, no, that's why this lady started to do porn.
Yes, and
She's kind of a not quite a one for one like connection to John, but like they both start out in similar ways where the sex or just like the act of like rubbing one out is the only way they like feel anything. And similarly, she's like, all I did was I did drugs and everything for so long, and then she finally had her first like orgasm after finally getting into porn or whatever.
Yeah, with,
and
like,
she was
Sergeant
like,
Clit or
I don't,
something.
huh?
With like Sergeant Clit or whatever.
Clint Eastwood.
Clint
Yeah.
Eastwood. Oh,
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
name.
Yeah, and what was the? Because it was like the porn was called
The lick it
Liquid
and the
and the Divine.
yeah.
Uh,
Which is another comic book they probably played off of, but
which maybe Matt Fraction worked on. I can't
I don't
remember. Yeah, it's interesting. We've had John's backstory, we've had Susie's backstory, we've had Robert Rainbow's backstory. Every single one of their backstories, they're defining moments that turn them into the versions we see in the modern day stuff. It's all linked to various sexual awakenings and stories.
Yeah.
And I think, again, with this book being just
Mixed
what
with
it
weird
is,
traumas too.
yes, it's a unique thing that no other story really gets to do, nor would it need to do. But for this, it makes absolute sense. And yeah, to have her show up in this and then see kind of what led her down the path of, she had that accident. It was kind of vague, the accident she had, but basically she can't feel anything down there unless she's just really stimulated.
really getting it good
She's
in
talked
every
herself
way
up.
possible.
Yeah, she's worked it together. What did she say when they go and see her at that university?
Well,
That she needs
she
three
made-
dicks, three
Three
dicks.
large dicks or a lot of time.
Yes. And going into even why she became a porn star,
To go from stripping to, I don't care about sex because it
She
doesn't
did
feel like
stripping
anything
and
for
then,
me,
like-
so I'll fuck for cash. To,
Yeah.
Pictures
why
and
not
then
do
porno.
Yeah.
and you understand every step along the way, because it's like she wanted to go to school and she grew up in a small rural town and with a poor family, and they're like, no, we're not going to send you to school, even though she found a way to get like 90% of it paid for.
Yeah,
So-
been mostly paid for.
She kind of just fell into stripping just
Also
by knowing
strange
people.
because like your student loans and whatnot. I don't know what time frame this is technically trying to say that she was in, but
I think it's 2014 to 2015.
no,
Back in the
Jasmine's-
day, yeah.
But those are your own loans, so your dad doesn't actually have to pay for you to go to college.
Mhm, yeah.
You could still go and do it, but
Yeah.
we are talking about a comic book, and I shouldn't be that upset about it.
But you have flipped that table, so
Yeah, it's like, oh, what a bullshit father to me. Be like, no, it's gonna cost me money.
Yeah, and-
No, the fuck, it's not.
But that story, again, not having experienced something like that myself, I'm sure that story, if people were to read it, like it could be very relatable and very like just like that hits like
Each
very
step-
similar situations.
Yeah, each step, it's like, oh, this next step's really not that bad. Honestly, I kind of like it. And then you just keep going and going and going. And then she was like, I made 89 sex movies, and I've only ever had 17 orgasms.
Yeah,
It's
and
crazy.
and her orgasms, which introduced a new thing in
Oh,
this.
new powers.
New powers.
Which is kind of exciting because you have to assume that other people have new powers too.
Exactly.
That,
So
or that John and her are, again, I haven't read any more than these
I
two
think-
volumes.
I think,
John and her are the only two that have had something extra about them, because Keagleface, the very rich man who wears the mask,
Yeah.
and the bus driver, they all look regular.
they
Whereas
seem
we know
to-
that John's cock glows.
Yes, that's
Nothing
true.
changes about Susie. She's just
Yeah.
in the quiet. Or Cumworld. I much prefer Cumworld. I think that's
Yeah.
a very fun way to call it. But then for Jasmine St. Cocaine to be like a corporeal ghost is
Very, very cool.
very cool.
It's very hot.
Because like
Yeah.
on top of, at least for like with John and Susie, they would like freeze time, and then they would walk away from the person they're having sex with, and then everything would come back, and then everything.
She like astrally projects herself out.
So
at that
she's
moment.
always still there, so people weren't probably as weirded out by it.
Yeah.
and she would never have to figure out how to get herself back into that moment.
Yeah.
So let's say you're like mid penetration when you have that
Yeah.
orgasm and time
Let me
stops.
just slide back in there.
Yeah, you go off and do some fun shit and go, oh, wait a second. Yeah, you got to reposition yourself. Oh, God, that'd be so weird.
And I like how the powers, at least this is how I took it, where the powers we've seen, time stopping and now this kind of astral projection thing, they seem to kind of be just linked to the feeling of sex and having an orgasm. It's
Yeah.
like, I feel like time stopped, and this is what they say. It's like when I have sex, I feel like time stops, or just it's an out of body experience when you climax. Like, I think that's just a fun way to kind of play off the idea of sex and what you feel. And I don't know. And it makes me wonder, like, okay, like what other feelings could they play with and turn into powers? It opens up a whole new world of what could this be going forward.
The part that like really opened the world up for me right at the very end
Spread that world
is
open.
that it was just they've been like having sex and orgasming together and like going out into the world. I never really thought about the fact that they both had to like complete at the same time, otherwise they would be frozen.
Yeah, one's frozen before if one.
And so they had to like match up their climaxes with Jasmine Saint Cocaine,
Yes.
or Kincaid or whatever.
To all be in there.
And they were like texting each other while they're going to make sure they hit it right exact same time. But
How
the
does that
part
work for the
gets
sex
me-
police?
That's the part that I think is going to get really interesting, is they're always there no matter what. So I feel like that has to be a different power that they have,
My guess, just based on what
or
we've
they're
seen so
always
far.
coming.
Well, I like where
Kegelface
that,
has
yeah.
to be able to
Kegelface
just like
is
force
always
herself
just coming.
to blast. I'm
Yeah.
assuming.
Based on what we've seen in these first 10 issues, I'm almost wondering if
They can see like the pre-cum, and so they get their business done while it's happening.
that, or I'm
They've got a
wondering if
sixth
it's just
sense for
something.
somebody's about to. Someone's gonna climax.
I'm
near
about
me.
to this.
I'm wondering if it's like a range, like the time stop thing only goes out so far.
Oh, like a blast?
Yes, exactly.
I gotcha.
Yeah, I'm just because
No, but the world has to stop. Otherwise,
With the whole world, or just the world
whole-
around? Oh yeah, time
Yeah,
would
the
mess
whole world
up.
has to stop. But yeah, otherwise you're just a little bit out of sync with everything else.
That's a good
going
point.
on.
I don't know. It just
But I feel you. It's got to be.
They gotta have
explain
something,
that somehow,
and like
and-
luckily we have 20 more issues to read.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the two biggest questions we're still left with, I think, by the end of this are like that question, but also what's out there that's bigger than the sex police? Because at the very end of the last issue, because they have other detectors or whatever, so they know like they know that the three of them have just climaxed and gone into the to come world.
simultaneously.
Yeah, and I think Kegelface, who seems to be the ringleader of the main three, says something like, "I'm not gonna have them mess this up for us. I'm not gonna have these people come looking and ruin this for us."
Sure, people are going to come looking. I don't know that they're saying that there really is one. Just that she's pretty sure that like,
She
oh,
just
we
doesn't-
figured it out, so somebody else can figure it out, and then we'll get dissected.
She's like, I don't want to get
and they'll
dissected.
figure us
Yeah.
out. And I kind of think that's ridiculous. But it's a comic
could be
book.
jumping
Again,
the
I
gun.
can't get upset about these things.
I think it's ridiculous, but I also think it's well within her character to think like that.
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah,
she's
yeah.
clearly soccer
Absolutely.
mom energy all day.
The
soccer
logic
mom.
of assuming that like, oh, someone will dissect me because I can come and go freeze in time. They'd have to have sex police like yourself, people who are like, yeah, I'll go fuck with those people. I'll go fuck with these people I don't know who just happen to be able to stop time when they come. I'd love to do that. That sounds like exactly my thing.
That's what gets me off.
Yeah. So, like, you've just got to believe that somebody's just as bad as you, if not worse.
Yeah.
And that they happen to have a little more power than you do.
It's almost like you're creating your own problem for no reason.
Yeah.
It's we've read a lot of comics since we started doing this, and it's been a long time since we revisited this, and I can't remember exactly what I said, but just this to me is probably one of the most fun experiences I have reading a comic.
Oh yeah, I honestly like top 3 that we've read on the podcast.
Yeah, we can go into a little bit now, but like, I think the weird, like, just again, the fun dialogue, the world building, it's all great, but just when you pair it with this art and what they're doing to add even more to those other things we talked about. It's just I want to give an award to Chip Zdarsky for the fashion in this, specifically the shirts. I love any time that anyone wears a t-shirt in this, because I'm like, what is it gonna say?
It's not even the t-shirts. It's literally, if you look at like anything that's not in the main like view of what you're reading or like looking at,
What's supposed to have your focus on?
There's a sex joke on every single like sign, every single thing, and it's like I'd have to go back and read this like 50 times to see all the like sex puns they're doing.
Absolutely, yeah.
Looking at the food court thing alone, they're at salad cake. You know, have your cake and eat salad too. Salad made out of cake made out of salad. The burger restaurant has burger, herger, berg, and shamburger. Like, they've done some very fun things with everything out in the background.
Yeah, it's going the extra mile when you don't have to, because most people aren't going to pick up on that anyway.
Yeah.
It's like,
you look at that and you're just like, I can tell that's a food court in some mall or any building. I don't even need to know what that business is. And yet you filled out all the stuff in there with something fun and just, yeah.
And there's like, in the gynecologist office, when like 30 students are peeking at her zone, there's a sign in the background that it's like, meet Spencer the Speculum, and then it looks like a little bird that's like the little like metal thing that pops it open, and it says, "Let's take a peek inside, shall we?" And you're like, every single sign's just like a fun little joke, and it's like, you guys had to write so much.
Yeah, it's almost like you figured out the story and the script, and that's already like, you know, great job there. But then you just went back and did all this extra stuff.
They made at least 15 to 20 like porn movies that Jasmine St. Cocaine was in. There was a whole page that was just her like movies.
And the various titles, yeah.
The only one I remember is she's a firefighter, and it's called Backshaft.
I'm trying to find them because
John's got because his new therapist tells him to start running every day, and you see him running at one point, and he just has a tank top that says "running is bullshit" in a hot pink. I wanted that. It's like, I don't even go running, but that is how I feel about running sometimes, so it's perfect for me.
You've got Captain Ease O, Miss Jones in the Devil. I can't read that one. The 710 Clit. Les Jizzerables. I mean, they've done some things.
They've done their homework, and they've gone all out doing so. Yeah, it's a great pairing. I don't really know if they've worked on anything before or since. But God, like if they have, I want to get into it, because
they're a good team.
They're a great team. Yeah.
Missionary Position, the movie.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Very basic, very vital, very, very foundational.
Finally, the adaptation we've all been waiting for.
It's good stuff.
It is good stuff, yeah.
I have talked a lot about the book, but like, guys, if you are listening, and I know you are, you gotta read it and look at it.
Yeah,
you're gonna enjoy yourself.
100%.
Absolutely.
I can say that as a not so much of a reader, that this was fantastic.
I'm glad you had a good time.
It's a good time. If I knew they wouldn't mess it up, I'd say they should make a TV show out of it.
I think they might be.
Ooh.
Yeah?
Yeah, but do it on a Max.
Yeah, it's an HBO show.
You don't think you could run that on a Hulu? Like a Solar Opposites kind of, or like Axe Cop when that was a thing?
Oh, like an animated thing.
Yeah. It would have to be animated. I don't think you could make this into a real show. And the only reason I say that is because I think gag and gimmick-wise,
it's not as fun.
They take it too dark.
Yeah.
Like they always do with live-action TV shows.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd watch it.
100%.
Plus, think of all the boobs.
You just want it on a platform that's just going to give you full penetration, which is what we all deserve.
Yeah, give me that NC-17 rating.
Oh my God.
What's going on with Skinamax? Is that still a thing?
We'll bring it back for this.
Well, I'd love to. What I wouldn't have given as like a 14-year-old kid to like watch a movie at 3 o'clock at night, hoping my parents didn't wake up and see me watching a movie at night. And it was also funny.
Did you not watch? Wow. Did you not watch Shop Erotica whenever that would pop on the telly?
I didn't watch. I might have watched.
You don't
that.
know about the Jumping Jackrabbit V9?
Maybe not, but I did
don't know
watch
about
the
this.
pirate. There was like a pirate softcore one that always came on late at night.
I mean, if we're just talking random,
Had the
porn,
word like booty in it or something like that, as they would.
Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't remember what year that came out, but again, I'm a teenager. My friend across the street, her dad had a pirated copy of
Copy.
what we thought was the movie, and it just said pirates on the top of the disc. So we popped that in, me and like I think her brother and my friend Sarah, and it was not Pirates of the Caribbean.
It was a softcore pornography.
No, it was a porn adaptation of Pirates of the Caribbean, but also not really Pirates of the Caribbean. There was just a lot of pirates and
Having
a
sex.
lot of sex. I remember Tommy Gunn was in it. I really only remember that because Tommy Gunn is just a heck of a name.
That's a heck of a porn name.
Yeah, he really nailed it on his name.
He was really packing.
I feel like he looked like the dude who played Hercules, Kevin Sorbo.
Kevin Sorbo.
Yeah, but with worse skin.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
And hopefully like a better outlook on life.
No idea. You know, I couldn't speak to his political affiliations.
I mean,
I've got to assume Tommy Gunn
I think
is down on
specifically
porn,
like
though,
Kevin
so-
Sorbo's like probably like on the edge of like some of the like the worst people out there.
Oh yeah, I mean, like he made Hercules, and that was rad as hell. But
It only takes you so far.
yeah, we're all Lucy Lawless fans.
Yeah.
Xena Warrior Princess was so much.
Oh
better.
yeah. Way ahead of its time.
so far ahead of its time. But all of that to say, I don't remember what had sidetracked me earlier, but when he's when John is a teen doing the yearbook thing,
I'll taking all those pictures.
yeah, but also being kind of a pervert to that one girl at first, and then having that realization that he's about to do something that's really wrong.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm not that much of a pervert.
Yeah, I liked that.
It's a good moment.
That
Yeah.
they did that, because I do feel like so many teenage boys are just monsters waiting to do something evil. That if I got to stop time as a teenage boy, I'm sure I'd have done something awful.
At least look at like go in the girls like locker room or something
Yes,
like that,
something like
right?
that, but that's absolutely sexual assault. You've just crossed a
You've
massive line.
You've crossed the line. I think like maybe it helped him make this decision, but like if he gets turned on, he comes out of the
For sure.
sex zone.
Yeah, but like again,
It was definitely a moral moment too,
Yeah.
which I
Yeah,
think
no,
for
there
this
was.
character,
it was interesting to put
Yeah.
in there, and I liked that as a juxtaposition for doing that sort of thing.
I think you need it too, because the thing about John is he's a flawed character, even to the modern day, and you are kind of wondering like, is this a bad guy?
Yeah.
So you needed a moment like that to be to see like, okay, like he's a good guy that has done bad things, but he also has lines he will not cross, and that's important to show.
He's still a top tier gooner.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some TikTok thing, right?
Gooning?
Yeah,
I
top
think so.
top tier gooning.
Or like is it Gen Z?
I don't know.
What's the one after Gen Z? Is that Gen X?
Gen Alpha?
Gen Alpha.
Gen Alpha.
Yeah, I think we jumped ahead.
I know
Yeah.
alphabetically that didn't make sense, but it's like we're millennials, and then the next
think
one.
Gen
was
We're
Alpha-
technically Gen Y. We
okay.
just millennials was just
Because we happened at 2000.
Y2K.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Which was rad, by the way.
I wasn't alive enough to know
You weren't
about it.
alive
I mean, I
enough
was
for
alive,
Y2K?
but I don't really know.
he was
bro.
alive, but he wasn't living. You know.
Yeah, I don't really remember much before like 10.
I was at a New Year's Eve party, and people were still talking about freaking out. I was 9 years old, and I remember thinking, I was in the United States for this. Australia's like 15 hours ahead. So everybody who was freaking out about the world ending, I was like,
It's like my family says it's fine.
yeah, I know some people living in 2000 right now, and they're chill.
Yeah,
Things
but
are okay.
that's also Australia. So in 2000, you guys probably didn't even have computers yet, right?
No, yeah, we were still working on
Pens and paper.
yeah, the corkscrew hanging from the hat, and you really just had to shake it hard and get a vibration going to get your messages across. Still throwing out messages via kangaroo too.
Just barely ahead of that now too.
Yeah.
I'm glad they have floppy disks now.
We're up to magpies. When you're getting swooped, that's actually them giving you some information.
A text message.
Yeah.
My mom needs me home.
Oh shit, the street lights are coming on. Riding my bike without a helmet. Ooh, she knows about it.
Oh man. No, I'm just joking. You guys just have slightly slower internet. That's it.
I mean,
And
again,
more aggressive animals, it sounds like.
well, the magpie's aggressive, but that's just a small bird. I mean, it hurts, but like it's a small bird. But again, to speak to more childhood stuff and the internet, I think I was 12, maybe 6th grade, so maybe 11. But we used to go to one of my friends' houses, and that's where we would look at internet porn, where it would download on that dial-up internet super, super slow.
Yeah.
But you could just type in anything. It was like, I think we used to go to like purplepusseyeater.com or something like that.
There was
It
a website for it?
Yeah, you could just start making shit up, and it was probably a porn site.
Yeah, nice.
I don't know if that's still true, but I kind of hope it is.
Yeah.
Just
We'll look
because
up
like
Purple Pussy Eater later.
the internet would be just a way more fun place for
Yeah.
people to just go and discover some.
See, in
weird things
America,
about
all we
yourself.
had was those nasty ones like Lemon Party and BlueWaffle.com and stuff like that.
Meatspin?
Yeah, we had Meat Spin and all that.
It is.
How many rotations did you guys get up to?
We got my friend up to about 126, and they were like, "You're still watching?"
That's impressive.
Well, that's because we set it to his home screen as a gag, so it would show up on his computer when he popped it out in class.
Oh, it's a good gag.
His computer, not his wiener.
That's technically a sex crime, right? Were you guys adults or were you teenagers?
We were 18. His college.
Okay. In college, I wasn't in college, but my friend was in college. I downloaded some porno from Brazzers onto his PlayStation, and I made it play on a loop, and then turned his TV off so that when he and his girlfriend came back later, that was the first thing that came up.
Yeah, similar ideas. We would set it to his home screen, so we would like, we would set it up a regular like internet site, and
Absolutely.
so he would close out, and the next time he like popped it up, his home screen would be Meat Spin, just spinning,
And he got to 126.
and then he would like, oh no, click it out, and then we set his like desktop background to like a chocolate starfish or something like that. So that might be a sex crime. I don't know. It was really funny though.
He doesn't talk to us anymore, but
he hates us. Or he got a new fetish.
I went to his wedding in Colombia, so like
Also,
we're still
he
cool.
does like
he really likes you then. You changed him in a way for the better.
Yeah, the internet was just such an interesting place when we were children. Well, at least when I was a child. I don't know. If
It
you
was
guys were
it was
same
the
way.
Wild West, but also somehow more wholesome in a lot of ways.
2 Girls, 1 Cub?
This volume's called Two Worlds, One Cop.
See, there we are.
There it is.
There it is,
There's that
the full
real
circle.
Yeah.
There's
Two
that
Girls, One
perfect
Cup
cervix.
is honestly, it scarred me in such a way I'll never not remember it.
No, you go to your grave with that video.
Yeah, much like Tub Girl, which I don't know if you guys have seen that, but that's also
Haven't seen Top
disgusting.
Girl.
I'm thinking of Kids in the Sandbox.
It's a
One
lady
man, one jar.
in a bathtub
One Man, One Screwdriver, the sequel.
with her butt in the air, just like spray diarrhea shitting into the sky, and it's falling back on top of her.
That would have been great as a
Absolutely
12-year-old
disgusting.
boy.
No, I didn't see that until I was an adult, but same world.
It's kind of gonna be hard to pass that up as far as like reviewing something, but would you guys like to review this book that we talked about
We
just
can do
now?
that.
Ooh.
Yeah. Show Rhys the ropes and how we review things here.
All right, so I'm gonna give it the perfect cervix.
Damn it. Should have gone
Ooh.
first because that was my review.
you can also have
no,
that.
I'll come up with a different one. Just come to me last.
But
Come on me last.
whose line is it anyway? Rules where the points don't matter, and you just
Say a
say
thing.
something.
Whatever's close to your heart.
Oh, okay.
Mine actually did equate to at least close to 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
It rounds up
it's
to
there.
10
If
out
you
of
Yeah,
10.
really-
I do think this was 5 lines of Jasmine Saint Cocaine.
That's pretty good. A gator tail, even.
Out of
Yeah.
5? Or?
Yeah, 5 out of 5. Yeah. Might even do an extra line for Backshaft specifically.
Yeah. Backshaft.
It was fantastic.
I forgot how much I liked it.
Yeah, it
Me
really
too,
made-
yeah.
Especially as we said that there was so much more talking. It seemed like at the beginning of volume 2, I wasn't sure if it was going to keep the same level of interest, and I feel like I finished volume 2 being like, oh, I'm in it. I want to read the rest of what's going on in this story. You have hooked me entirely.
That's the hardest part about this podcasting game that we've gotten ourselves into.
Oh, is that you get into
that
them?
like I specifically like cut myself off after the volume we're covering. Because if I know what happens 5 issues later, I have to stop myself
from talking.
talking about it and or remembering it.
Yeah.
So,
and that would be weird because having read both of these volumes, trying to think of everything that happened specifically in volume 2 is a little bit strange because you're like,
it worked out good for this one because honestly, the first 10 could like just go back to back to back, and we could have just made a whole episode about that if we had known. Because I feel like they all meshed pretty well.
Yeah,
we got the second act.
Well, it was wonderful.
That's good.
It's good.
Snoop's got one now.
Yeah. Sorry, I got distracted by looking at Robert Rainbow Strip. I forgot about that scene.
That was a powerful scene, especially when you're talking about contraceptives.
I know. Yeah. It's educational.
Yeah. And he's stripping while he's doing it.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, I've had a really, really great time with this for all the same reasons that you guys have been talking about. So for that reason, I am going to say that I am white, I'm straight, and I'm 99% brimper.
Oh, okay, damn.
Yeah.
That's You're 99% brimper?
Yeah. I'm saving my 1% for the rest of the story.
For the rest of the sex positions?
Yeah.
Do you remember what brimping is?
Wasn't that fucking hair?
It's the hair job,
yeah. And she was like, "That's actually doesn't sound that bad."
Yeah, she's like, "That one would be cool, kind of cool, actually." I like how open they are about just being in, like some of the freaky stuff that they're doing.
God,
it's very sex positive, this book as well.
Oh, and that's rad. I don't think I could put my penis
all those
through
sex
somebody's
positions
hair.
on the wall. It was like the double chocolate cake or something like that, where it's just butt to butt and you're both shitting.
Yeah, so shit play in general is hilarious, but it's disgusting.
I don't want to see it live and in person. But
isn't there one where, like, the girl shits into the guy's butthole as well?
That might have been that.
Is that one?
No. That one, the one I'm talking about. They're standing butt to butt,
and they're shitting at the same time. Right? Yeah. There's one where it's just like the guy's like down, like squatted down, butthole up.
Yeah,
and she's squatted over him. Just I don't know. You're into what you're into though, and that's okay with me.
I do remember another one. It was like the light switch, and the guy just was holding a flashlight above the girl's head, and whether his penis was up or down is whether the light's on her or not.
Oh yeah.
It's hard trying to just find that section of.
Found it.
Oh, fantastic!
In my real book.
My real book's right here. It's a little big though. It's hard to leaf through.
Oh, I forgot about the Dutch microwave. That one's a good one. That's where he's eating ass and he has the paper bag over his head.
That's good.
I haven't gotten to it yet.
Quisping. Quisping's what I'm thinking of, but sorry. It's not
you
pooping.
Spit into
just
the butthole?
No, she's pissing into his butthole. It's a lot more family friendly than I thought.
Banana. Readings for squares.
I was waiting for
Sorry,
that.
Steve.
Titty fucking was bloobing.
Not Steve. Rhys.
Which is just a powerful one.
It's power. That's the first one.
What's that?
Oh, did I get my phone too close to it again?
No, I can't hear anything.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, you're talking about bloobing. That's the first one.
Bloobing and then swaffing. Swaffing actually seems like the move for really together couples.
Reverse cowgirl?
No, that's him. It looks like he's getting a piggyback and I guess somehow inside of it.
Oh, yeah.
He's full arms crossed across their shoulders.
You can see his balls up underneath. But yeah, Readings for Squares is a segment where we talk about things that isn't books. And so we're going to do that now.
Oh, okay.
Because I interrupted Snoop. It's kind of what I do.
That's the dynamic here.
It's just for that specific one.
Yeah. The last one's the user agreement, which might be just a personal favorite of mine.
A foot job while you're on the computer?
And she's using him as the table for the computer, yeah. That's just great for everyone involved. But yes, that is the segment of the show where we talk about things that aren't books. So, Rhys, you're
Movies,
our special guest.
Games.
You play games. You watch movies.
Games in real life. Anything that's not books.
You can be anything.
Just anything that I'm into at the moment.
What are you up to?
What are you jiving on specifically right now?
I mean, I always end up playing Destiny, but I'll be really, really honest. That game, it'll rope you in if you like a first-person shooter. The shooting is crispy. The movement's nice. But they vault content and
plus Destiny 3 is about to come out probably, right?
Destiny 3 is not even happening.
No.
They're just gonna ride this until they can't anymore.
They're making a mobile game that's supposed to give you like some background lore, but I don't give a
shapes
shit.
and like circles and numbers, right? That's like their thing.
The final shape was the last DLC. Yeah.
I think the problem I have with Destiny because I played the first one and I played a little bit of the second one.
The second one was awful when it started.
I played it after they fixed it.
Oh, okay.
But I think the thing I really am just disappointed in is, on the surface, it's a very interesting sci-fi world that they cannot make me care about in the least.
They don't. Yeah, that's really the biggest deal. Is that it has so much to it. There is such deep lore. I've watched so many lore videos or listened to them, and been like, oh, okay, that's why we're doing this thing, and then that makes it really interesting, and you just don't get that from playing it. It is a lot of fun to play.
Yeah,
but just like it. Yeah, I don't necessarily recommend that game to anyone. I personally like it, and if you decide to play it, I'll play with you. But it's not what's up. However, Black Myth Wukong, if you can get your hands on playing that game was incredible.
Nominated for Game of the Year.
They should win. It absolutely should. It's the only game, in my opinion, that nails everything.
I would love to play it, but I'm bad at video games, and I wouldn't make it past like the first 30 minutes before I couldn't play it anymore.
Nah, for sure you would. For sure you would, because I'm not good at the boss. Like Bloodborne is not my thing, and I tried Elden Ring, and it's not really for me. But Black Myth Wukong isn't quite the same.
Not quite as hard.
I think it's hard, but it's not quite the same thing. Because once you level up your abilities, and you can just keep leveling if you wanted to.
I got you.
Then you'll be able to beat other stuff.
Yeah.
You can.
I'd have to grind it out a little bit, but I might be able to handle it eventually.
Yeah, I only just beat the final boss. Like last week.
Yeah.
I beat the side special serious extra boss like a month ago, but I could not beat
the real boss.
The real
deal final.
The real big bad.
The regular you would just run into him boss.
Yeah.
Without giving any spoilers.
I got you.
And also, it's just a great story. I mean, like
it was. Yeah.
Because that's based off Journey to the West, right?
Yeah. Dragon Ball Z and all. No, Dragon Ball, not Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah. Which that is basically what Dragon Ball is. Yeah. Which I think is just, I like when you have a story that it's that iconic, it's that great, it's that old. But, and I'm one of these people saying this, it's like, I will probably never actually read the original story. So I like when creators get to come in, do their own thing with it, but at its core, it's that, and you get to experience it.
My understanding of Journey to the West is that it's not very big. That, I guess, like, the way it's written, it's a lot of very short, like, we did this. This happened. He fought these people. They did something else. That's
I just
the
know,
end of that
like,
section
Flying
of the story.
Cloud, Extendo Pole. That's all part of it, and other stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I never played this game, but I listen to a lot of people talk about video games on podcasts. So like half the time I find the stories out to all these games because I'm like, I'm probably not going to play this 30 to 60 hour game, so I might as well see what's what.
Oh, that game for sure is a long one.
So I like, you know, heard about some of the stuff. But I also got a bad enough brain to, if I played it, probably wouldn't remember that stuff either.
That's a real sweet spot to be in.
Yeah.
And then as always, Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Love Mario Kart. Everyone should be playing Mario Kart.
Or else.
It's so much fun. Yeah, that's what. Oh, actually, TV wise, people should be watching Shrinking on Apple TV.
I watched the first
season,
4 to 5 seasons, 4 to 5 episodes
of the first
season.
Okay, so the first season is solid, and I like it. The second season has been so emotionally...
I did almost not continue my Apple TV subscription because it like doubled in price.
You've got my Apple TV on your TV, don't you?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so you should.
But you did continue your Apple TV.
I did continue it because they have so many. They got so many TV shows on there.
Silo just came back. Silo was fantastic. Severance is supposed to come back in January. That was fantastic.
They're chock full in there.
I mean, they've missed because C was no good, and I didn't like Central Park as far as that cartoon show went. That wasn't for me. But for the most part, every show I've watched on Apple TV has just been powerful.
I think
Presumed Innocent. Oof,
their shows are typically better than the movies they seem to put out, right? Is what I've heard. Because I've seen like
Killers of the Flower Moon was just really long.
Gosh, it's
didn't
so
watch
long.
that.
I didn't watch Napoleon, but I wanted to.
Didn't watch that.
Wolves with George Clooney and Brad Pitt. A lot of fun.
That looks pretty good. I love
a lot of fun.
George Clooney.
Nice,
worth watching.
Brad Pitt joint.
But you're really.
That being said, I watched something on Max though.
What'd you watch on Max?
I watched The Penguin.
Oh, we can talk about the Penguin. I watched the Penguin.
I haven't finished the Penguin.
How far are you on the Penguin?
I've watched 2 and some change episodes so far.
Oh, you're just getting into
when
the
I
Penguin.
was sick on Wednesday, I rewatched the Batman because I was like, I should probably rewatch the Batman so I know what's happening in this town that's going to happen immediately after in the show that I'm about to watch.
Good thought.
Yeah.
And so that was a good idea. And then like I just watched a 2-hour movie about the Batman and I was like kind of Batmaned out for the day.
God, it's like 3 hours, isn't
So
it?
then I watched 2 episodes of the Penguin at my job while I was doing my job.
How is that? Working and watching a show like The Penguin? Because when I go to work, I watch a lot. Oh, I don't really watch, but you know, you listen to a movie or something. I think I've watched all of the most recent animated Batman movies.
I got this real fun little, like, it's like a plug-in charging stand. So it like props up my phone and I just set it on there like TV mode.
Yeah, but if you're doing something where you actually have to be looking at your
lot
work,
of
'cause
my-
you got to write stuff down a lot.
A lot
don't
of
you?
my job is very...
You can
It's
just
like
say
I'm
that,
doing stuff, but it's very no brain.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm just like counting bugs and like it's like right here, and especially like if it's a slower day. On like a faster day, I'm like getting those counts done as fast as I can, but on a slower day, I was like kind of watching the movie, counting this cup, still kind of hear what's going on, still seeing the stuff,
Absolutely.
still seeing Colin Farrell be someone that's not Colin Farrell.
It is surprising that that's Colin Farrell because I would not be able to pick him out.
If they hadn't have told me,
you never know.
never
I would
have
never
guessed.
know.
Especially with him saying "wike."
A different accent.
Yeah.
Like nowhere near like his face. He nails it.
Everybody nails it.
I haven't liked like a superhero thing in a while, but after the Batman came out, I was like, they kind of made a good one.
Yeah. DC wise, you haven't liked the superhero
I haven't
thing,
really
or just
liked
in
the,
general?
I haven't really liked the DC thing since like the other Batman stuff, Dark Knight stuff.
Yeah, I feel like DC.
I mean,
was trying
Aquaman
too
was
hard
like
to try and catch
fun,
up with
and like
Marvel.
there's a few fun ones, but this is the first like set of stuff that's been good
Yeah.
that they've done in a long time. And I really like the Mafia, like seeing like Batman's actual villains, not just like the crazy ones that
Similar
are
like how
aliens.
Daredevil, when that show came out on Netflix.
Yeah.
that was fantastic.
Base level crime,
Yeah.
but like they're still like
You're fleshing out these
Yeah.
pieces, and I like knowing the backstory of the villain, even, or like kind of their motivation for what's happening and the pieces that are moving over here.
plus like the Penguin, Oswald Cobb.
Yeah.
It's like just the shittiest person ever, but like 2 episodes in and I don't want that man to lose ever.
Yeah.
It's
No,
a weird.
You're rooting for him that hard.
I'm rooting for him so hard.
It's a weird feeling because it's a character that you think, with it being his show, like, oh, we're gonna see like the redemption in this character, or just like we're gonna understand why people would follow him or why we would want him to win. And like Higgins says, you do want to see him kind of get through this, but you hate him every second, and you hate him more and more as it goes. I finished it. It's like 8 episodes, I think, and the season just finished. I don't know if they'll do any more. Without spoiling anything, he is so much worse of a person than you can ever imagine.
I believe it.
Isn't
he also going up against awful people?
Yes, and that's the thing is too, because the other main character of this
Christina Milioti
is Kristen Milioti, who played the mother in How I Met Your Mother. That's where I first saw her, and
Andy Samberg's love interest in Palm Springs.
Yes.
Palm Springs, yeah.
she's amazing. I
really
don't
good.
think I've seen her in anything that I haven't thought, like, you're one of the best actors in this thing, and
nailed it.
does it here as well. And there's an episode in particular about her, because her backstory in the show is she's connected to the Falcone family, which was the mafia family in the Batman movie. Her dad was John.
The main dad.
Was it John Turturro plays him in?
No, it's the guy from Severance. I don't know what his name is.
Oh yeah, I know who
the
you're talking
old
about.
guy.
Yeah, can't think of his name.
But
It's a John something, but John Turturro's
are you sure it's not John Turturro? I thought it was Tatoots. But anyway,
maybe that's his name. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else.
he's the guy in Transformers who's the dickhead in most of those movies.
Yeah, that's his name. Then I was
Um,
thinking of what's his face from like the Kingsman movies. That's like bald too.
Oh yeah,
Mark Strong.
I don't know his name.
No,
no, that's Mark Strong. So Mark Strong plays him in this, He plays the same character in this.
Okay.
I don't really understand the reason why. I've heard different things. I've heard maybe
was he also the bad guy in Kick-Ass? We're talking about the same bald dude?
Yeah.
Mark Strong was, yeah. So she's a part of that family, and you in the modern day stuff, you see her trying to basically rise up, kind of take things over, and you get to see the motivations behind that character and why she would want to do this. And there's one episode in particular I think is the best of the entire show, and it's about her. But yeah, just to see those two trying to do their thing, become the crime lord of Gotham, because there's a hole now after the ending of the Batman.
Yeah.
And it's just such a weird dynamic, because their history with each other, their history with these families, their motivations for doing what they want to do, they're not good people, but you're rooting for both of them for whatever reason. It's very, very, very well written, very well acted. And I think why this works so well, and it goes into a show I would like to talk about that I also watched, is we're hitting this point in the superhero genre for, however much longer we have it, where we get to see stuff that's not really even superhero related. The Penguin, from beginning to end,
It's a mafia story.
it's just a mafia thing.
Yeah, you don't see Batman once.
You maybe hear him mentioned once, and you hear like a name drop, but it doesn't really mean anything. You could take it out; it means absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
I also watched Agatha All Along and finished that up, which is the spin-off show
WandaVision.
from WandaVision. The villain in that, it's about her, played by Katherine Hahn.
Was that any good? While I like her, I've had less and less desire to watch Marvel's
I canceled
TV
my
shows
Disney
lately.
Plus.
Verizon pays for my Disney Plus, so it's not going anywhere until I don't have Verizon.
And it's completely understandable, because even though I think I've watched everything that the MCU's done, I think I haven't watched all of Echo, to be fair, but we hit a lull. It was bound to happen, especially when we kind of hit that natural exit of Endgame, and then you have all of this stuff. Like they pumped out more than ever in the last couple of years, so not all of it's going to be great, not all of it's even going to be good.
Yeah.
Agatha All Along was probably one of the better things that they've made in a really long time, because it's not a superhero show, it's a show about witches, and that's basically it. It has those ties, it has characters come in where you're like, oh, you're related to this. Very just like surface level. It is just a show about witches, and Katherine Hahn is amazing in it. Everyone's amazing in it, but Katherine Hahn, it's her show. It's just it's really great, and it's the same thing as the Penguin, where okay, we're getting stuff now that it's got the superhero kind of backdrop to it as the setup. Outside of that, you don't need to know anything. It's in its own contained genre of mob or magic, and I think that works really well, and I hope we get more stuff like that, because Loki was kind of the same way.
I did like Loki season 1.
It's just a time travel thing. Like
if Jonathan Majors hadn't done whatever that bad stuff was,
burned his career to the ground.
I do think that Loki helped set Marvel up to be interesting again. Because it was like, oh, okay,
but
so
then they had to
Kang's going
turn
to be
their
the guy.
entire plot upside down because one guy sucked.
Yeah,
it's bound to happen eventually.
which is kind of a bummer, because honestly, I feel like you could. I mean, we all just saw him as Kang, but like, he's from a different timeline. You could tell me another guy was Kang at this point, and I'd be like, whatever, that's fine.
Yeah.
Give me another bluey green faced man.
There was a rumor going around. I don't know how true it is, but apparently, because I thought the same thing, a lot of people did. Maybe one reason that didn't happen is because in his contract, Jonathan Majors had it where only he could play that character, and so that's why they had to just dump
He's
it.
a good actor.
He's a great actor. It's such a shame that like it's like you just had to not be a shitty person.
Yeah.
And I don't know his whole backstory. I don't know what goes all into that and what happened, but it is a shame that like someone that good at acting, who was set up to be kind of an interesting villain, just we had to drop that entirely. And now we're getting the Robert Downey Jr. Dr. Doom thing, and
which bums me out.
I think it bums a lot of people out. I think people are gonna like me. I'm
Dr. Doom just
consciously-
should have been somebody else. Tony,
yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. was Tony Stark. For you to bring Dr. Doom in,
Well, that being said, there's probably like some timey-wimey stuff too, where they're
100%,
gonna
but
work
then-
him in there because of that, and he's actually
that
Tony
they'll make-
Stark that turned into Doctor Doom.
yes, I'm sure
And
that'll
stuff
be
like
what
that.
it is. But
As
that's not as interesting as still having Tony Stark, because Iron Man still exists in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So you've been this man this whole time, and now you're also this guy.
Rhys, it's multiverses, man.
Well, so
it's
story-wise, what seems to be the way they're going to go with it, because Fantastic Four comes out next year.
Yep.
And it's set in a parallel universe in like a weird futuristic 60s kind of vibe.
Yep.
So
he's not actually in a world where Tony Stark exists yet anyway.
That, or like there's a different person playing that version of Tony Stark. We don't really know, but it seems like that this Doctor Doom, Robert Downey Jr. character is going to come from the Fantastic Four movie and be the villain of the multiverse, and then we'll never see him after Avengers 5 or 6. And maybe they'll do an MCU like main universe Doctor Doom. I don't really see the point of it at that point, because it's like he'll not be as big of a threat as this one, and also he won't be Robert Downey Jr. So it's like that is the biggest bummer of.
And none of that is just throw shade at Robert Downey Jr. I think he's a fantastic actor and he'll probably do a great job.
Yeah,
but I don't think I'll enjoy it the same way that I would have enjoyed seeing literally anyone else give it a go.
I saw someone talk about this, and I think that while it's a good idea, they'll never do it because they are giving him however much money they're going to give him to do this. But someone said that do it, like you are doing it, but do it and have him wear the mask almost the whole time, where it's just the voice.
Never his face, just his voice.
As much as you can, because then he can do like, he can do it's an acting challenge, because he's like, I got to be an ominous, threatening villain, but just with my voice.
Yep.
And it takes you, because I think my problem, and it seems like you have a similar thought going in, is just like, when I see him on screen, I'm just going to see the actor, Robert Downey Jr., who is just like, well, you did Iron Man, that was your thing.
Yeah.
Whereas if
you're
have
Tony
him,
Stark in this universe to me, and that's just it.
If you have him wear the mask, mostly, like, again, is 99% of it.
Yeah.
It'll help me get more immersed. But again, they're not going to do that, because then they have to have a scene where Tom Holland shows up and he's like, Mr. Stark, what are you doing? He's like, I'm not Mr. Stark, I'm Dr. They're going to have that in for sure.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I know they did a similar thing with Chris Evans being the Human Torch, but that Fantastic Four movie had come out so long ago that being like, nah, this isn't Captain America, this is the Human Torch fit. It was a fun little gag to have happen in there.
Yeah, because he was just in and out. And,
whereas I don't think it will be a gag to have one of your main characters now be the villain.
Yeah. I think also, too, the main thing, because we all know, it's just like, this was a money thing.
For sure.
It's why because the people directing these movies now are the ones who directed the last two Avengers movies.
And I think that might be a bit of the problem with the burnout for those movies, is that when they were first coming out, like Chris Hemsworth, yes, he was a relatively known actor, but he wasn't a household name. Robert Downey Jr. hadn't really done movies consistently for years at this point.
Yeah, Charlie Bartlett was the only one that really comes to mind before.
What's his
Iron
face?
Man?
Terrence Howard got kicked off of the second Iron Man because he wanted more money than Robert Downey Jr.
He was top billing for the first one, yeah.
And like you would argue that, like, I mean, you didn't really do that.
But then
much.
you got Don Cheadle.
Yeah,
Better.
Great actor. But like we kept relatively known but not like crazy names.
The
to
movies
be in
made
these
the
movies.
Actors at first,
and now you're doing it the other way around. You're back to like, well, we're gonna grab
put these
this
big names in here
and put it in there, because Eternals was shit.
Well, that's the thing is we're starting to see that not all of it can work, right? Like they recently, without saying it, they said there's no Eternals 2.
Yeah,
and the things that happened at the end of that movie will either wrap up in a scene when they show up for a cameo in Avengers 6.
Yeah, sorry, Harry Styles.
Or you'll never see these characters again. Yeah, I would be surprised if we see Game of Thrones guy ever again.
Him, Angelina Jolie, whoever the other one was in The Child, easily forgettable. Kamal's character, that is his name.
The guy from Atlanta.
Kumail Nanjiani,
yeah.
Oh, Kumail.
Liked him. I enjoyed only his character in Eternals.
You like the guy from Atlanta?
I like the guy from
The guy
Atlanta.
from Atlanta was forgettable.
Paperboy?
Paperboy's character was forgettable.
Yeah, but he had that gay family, and he kissed a man.
That was very forgettable for me.
It was.
I'm not against it. I mean,
he made the atomic bomb, I think, in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, that was his thing. He like intervened in time.
Yeah.
And like made all the big inventions.
He's like, I taught him how to make a wheel, and then they made this big bomb, and I'm real upset about that. And you should be.
I mean, to go back to some other thing that you're interested in. I love Christmas movies. The shittier the better, especially at this time of year.
You love Hallmark this time of year.
Not specifically Hallmark, but Hallmark adjacent films.
Yeah, those sort
like
of things.
the Netflix version, like everything Lindsay Lohan's done lately has just been pure garbage.
Speaking of that, I heard there's a really good Christmas movie on Netflix now.
Single All the Way. It's a very gay Christmas movie.
I was talking
from
about like
Shrinking.
Hot Frosty.
Hot Frosty's not good, but it
Oh,
it has Lacey, Gretchen Wieners.
yeah.
Not good at all, but it is another
Is
one
it
of
Hot
those
and
shitty premise of that movie is that a snowman comes to life and he's hot.
I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Is he so hot that he melts himself?
No, he's just shredded. He's not hot. I think they could have got a much more attractive actor. Is like Lacey, whatever her last name is, I'm gonna butcher it, so I'm not even gonna try. Beautiful woman.
You're saying she deserves a hotter snowman.
Yeah, this was just a dude with like pecs and abs.
And they could put those
saying-
on anybody.
Yeah.
You're saying they could have got Zac Efron for this joint?
Oh shoot! I mean, Zac Efron, 2015. Yeah,
Even
Zac
now.
Efron. Zac Efron now he's got that big jaw.
Yeah.
That's not
Doesn't
on
work
him.
the same way.
He had that
I
accident.
mean, it is on him. You do cocaine and you bust your chin open.
Okay, that's a bit on him.
That's your problem.
You're thinking peak would be like a Baywatch Zac Efron.
Yeah, I mean, Zac Efron is hot. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't think he'd do a movie like this, although he should. I would absolutely watch.
Put more big actors in shitty movies.
Oh, speaking of big
I'm
actors,
loving
in,
seeing Lindsay Lohan in them.
Speaking of big actors in shitty Christmas movies, have you seen Red One?
No, but I'm going to.
I was wondering. I was like, this is a perfect opportunity to ask someone who might actually be excited about that
So
movie.
excited
Are
about
you
that.
really?
Yeah,
does
and not
look-
because The Rock looks like he's going to do anything, but what's his name? Simmons.
It does look really.
Oh,
it
J.K.
does look
Simmons is
pretty
Santa.
fun.
That's right.
Oh,
and he's a buff
Chris
Santa.
Evans is in there.
All right, it's going to be good.
And
Did you
there's
guys
the
watch
polar
Violent
bear.
Night?
That's the one with David Harbour, right?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I'm actually kind of interested in that one.
So good.
Yeah?
So good. I mean, it's just wanton violence.
And then I saw another one. I don't know what it's called or anything, but it's got Justin Long in it.
Oh.
And I think it came out recently, and I've only just seen quotes. And
And it's a
Justin
Christmas
Long,
movie?
Yeah.
Okay, hell yeah.
And Justin Long, I don't know if he's ad-libbing or what, but like all of the lines that like they highlighted for me in this video were just so off the wall.
I do love Justin
Like
Long.
I would never, you wouldn't hear it ever in real life, and you almost would never hear it in movies.
Is Justin Long the most successful, regular-looking guy in Hollywood? Because he never really goes away.
Probably Meth Damon.
Meth Damon.
Yeah,
think
Jesse
Matt-
Plemons.
Oh.
I feel like he does more.
Jesse Plemons is just a really good actor. I don't know if I think he's the most successful of the regular looking dudes. Because I don't think he's regular looking. He's got that.
He's
Yeah,
still.
he's lower than regular.
He's got like
looking.
seal face going
Yeah,
on.
that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. He's almost worse.
But he's still Hollywood 6, which is like a regular person 8.
He's an incredible actor. I don't think Jesse Plemons is missed.
No.
Everything I've seen him in, he's nailed it.
Yeah.
Andy might feel differently. He hates that guy.
Wow.
It's one. Andy has this list of people. He'll enjoy this if he's still awake.
Keira Knightley for me. Keira Knightley sucks.
You won't watch her movies though.
I hate her.
You won't watch.
Okay, so
any
you have a
movie.
list too.
She does not make so like I've watched movies with her in it, but I don't get why people are trying to tell me she's beautiful. She's not. She's got a really weird smile. Bend It Like Beckham. She is the least interesting of the two. I don't even remember the Indian girl's name, and that says something to you because she was the better actress, and yet Keira Knightley's the one we're all talking about.
Amen.
Also, for Pirates of the Caribbean, you could remove Keira Knightley's character, and it changes nothing.
I don't know until you get to like the fourth one where she becomes the Pirate King.
She's not in the fourth one.
The third one when she becomes the Pirate King.
Oh, she does become something in those movies.
Literally any other thing could do it. You could have any other love interest work for what's his face, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Orlando Bloom can get with some sea shanty chick, and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Zoe Saldana's in that first movie, and then just kind of goes away and never comes back.
In the Pirates movie?
which is just crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
She was at the Jack Sparrow. He owed her a boat.
yeah. And then you never see her again. Like even to this day, they haven't gotten her back. Maybe she's too expensive. I don't know.
They could have if they put her in because she is a beautiful woman.
She is great actor as well.
Her and Orlando Bloom. If she'd been whatever Elizabeth something's character's
Could've
name
been.
was. That would have been fantastic.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and Keira Knightley could have been the throwaway boat character.
Could have drowned her in that boat
Yeah,
for all
ideally.
Rhys cares.
Yeah.
I don't think I have anyone who I'm just like.
I'll watch anything.
Well, I don't think I
Oh,
have
watch
anyone who,
things.
when
I
I
just
see
hate
someone, I'm
people
just
in
like, I hate this person. I'm trying to think.
I
Do you
love
have anyone
Love
like that?
Actually.
No, I don't have that. Bethany has like 7 of them, and I can't.
hell yeah.
I have to watch all of those movies by myself.
I think
Oh, so she won't even watch it.
No, Andy's the same way. He won't even watch.
I hate Keira Knightley, but I will watch something with her in it if
Bethany
I want to
won't watch
that
a
movie.
Matt Damon movie with me.
Really? I mean, Matt Damon
she's-
seems like he's probably a prick.
She just was. She says that she just wants to. Something about his face makes her want to punch it, and I'm like, but why can't I watch Ocean's 11?
The Bourne Ultimatum.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
that's gotta be
Unless the
tough.
Bourne Ultimatum's not the one with him in it.
think he's in
named
all
the
of them.
one- he's
No,
in
he's in that
3
one.
of them, and then the one with Jeremy
Bourne
Renner.
Legacy.
There's 5 of them.
Yeah.
He can be in the.
There's 5?
You can watch the. Yeah, because
Yeah,
they
there's
brought
the
him back
first,
for Jason
the first
Bourne.
3. Yeah, there's the first 3. The Bourne.
So you're allowed to watch the Bourne Legacy, which has Jeremy Renner in
Is
it.
it the Legacy? I couldn't remember which
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
If that was the 4th movie or the video game.
I think that one makes the Bourne collection the most interesting.
Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy Renner's one. Only because, you know, Matt Damon's character is just already powerful and smart and good at this stuff. And then Jeremy Renner's character is like, oh man, I don't want to be functionally a moron. I need these pills to keep me at least the level of intellect that I have. I'm
Are you
so
talking about
afraid.
Limitless?
No.
I've never actually watched the one with Jeremy Renner. In it.
That one's a fun one. I like that. It's no shitty Christmas Hallmark adjacent.
Yeah, find the
movie,
Justin
but
Long Christmas movie. It
I'm
looked
gonna have to
pretty
look that
fun.
up. That'd be right up my alley.
But hey,
I think I hate Theo James a little bit.
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah,
Not
neither.
worth mentioning.
No
He's
idea.
in White Lotus season 2. He's the love interest in those Divergent movies that never finished with Shailene Woodley.
With the jerk from the intern
Probably.
ship with Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson.
That sounds right. Yeah, I think so.
Who are an
He's
incredible
he's
duo.
a little lighter than Rhys, but like still ethnic.
Oh damn!
Sorry,
Can you say that on a podcast?
I don't know. I didn't know how to say it. I didn't know how to say it professionally. I also Rhys just thinks I like to make racist jokes, so I figured I might as well throw it in while we were recording a podcast with him.
As the only minority here, I'll let it slide.
All right. But yeah, I think we could literally sit here all night and talk about tangents on tangents on tangents
Oh,
of
yeah.
movies, but we should probably sweep up and let these people go.
I mean, we can.
Oh yeah.
Andy's been asleep for an hour now.
Oh my gosh, everybody's so snug right now, and
Yeah.
he's currently in his parents' bed because a tree fell on his house. Sorry,
I
Andy.
saw that his air conditioning was actually getting work done. I saw a dude
Oh,
at his
that's
house.
good.
I mean, his roof's still fucked, but
The air conditioning's a start though.
It's got a
I
tarp
wonder
on
if-
it.
I wonder if he knows that. We'll have to
he
let him
said
know.
something about them apparently coming to start, but I actually saw it the other day. I
Okay.
meant to
Nice.
tell him at pickleball.
Well, maybe he'll listen to this and just get a little pep in his step that
He'll
even though
finally
it's
get to
been
go
2
home.
months, they're finally working on
He could
his
possibly
house.
have heat. No roof, but it'll be warm.
just in time for winter. Well, good. We'll give updates on that next episode, how the house is doing. But for now, yeah, Higgins, we can clean up shop. We can thank Rhys for doing this episode with us.
Oh,
Thank
yeah,
you,
thanks,
Rhys.
buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a pleasure to be here.
Oh my gosh, no one's
Oh,
ever
yeah.
said that before.
Fun guest.
Fun times, fun
you
crimes.
Yeah.
You're already listening to us, but if you or your friends want to listen to us, you can find us anywhere. You can find us on all the platforms, Podcatcher, yourpodjesus.com, other stuff like that, YouTube even. Some of them have our faces on it.
You
We
can
have
find us-
special guest episodes.
Oh, we do. We got one more coming up for the year. You can find us at
Oh, wow. I hope he doesn't actually put this in.
Will I block that out?
Who knows? Maybe we'll get fan mail, fan snail mail. But yeah, you can find us on all those. We would love a review or a rating. We'll probably even read it if you send it to us. We haven't checked in a while. We'll do it the next episode. I don't feel like looking it up right now.
Oh my god, my phone's over here.
I know. It's
I mean,
so
it's literally
far.
right here, but
So far.
My arms are crossed. I can't like uncross them right now.
I'd have to lean
We're
a
already
little bit.
we're already going so long, and I know you guys want to go to bed, but we would love to see those reviews, and we would love to get emails from you at our email,
Which is
the Comixology Club at 0-8studios.com.
good job.
Yeah, I did it. I made sure to do it first before I said all of the other stuff, so I wouldn't screw up. But yeah, send us all the things. We got a pretty much full slate, so we probably won't read anything that you guys tell us about, but talk about our books with us and we'll probably answer your questions.
That's right. We got 2 more pods to do for the year. We've got Watchmen coming up with a person we've
Steele.
mentioned. Yeah, ZB Steele. He's going to
We
come
might
and do an
even talk
episode
about
with
his
us.
book a little bit.
We might. If he's nice enough to
Yeah.
us, we will. So we'll do that. And then the last one will be we're going to bring Bessie in, your Bessie.
Mine.
And she's in the other room, I think, right now, probably doing a big nap, as she does. But when she wakes up, we're going to do the second part of Friday. That one
The
book that
second
we
and
looked at.
final
No,
part?
I think there's one more after that.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know. Who knows? There's
Yeah.
no way to find out, is there?
We did it one time and we're doing it again.
Exact, just like
Friday
we did
part
today.
2.
Yeah. 2 Fridays. So join us for both those things. Until then, I'll say cheers, guys. That's what I say when we end the show. I'll remind Higgins he needs to get that egg in him every day. Eat it up. Yum,
You
yum.
got it.
Rhys, would you like to say anything?
I mean, I don't have anything in particular to say. I don't know that anybody wants to find me. I'm not a podcaster.
That's good enough. Everything
Just
you
a
just
little
said right
sign
there.
off thing. You want to
okay.
so your last final words, a little fun word.
Final words, are we going to kill him?
Yeah,
Maybe.
These are my final words. If you're going to do sex crimes, save your local library.
Yeah. And then I'm just gonna be like, I'm about to burn.